What's going on, guys? It's 4:47 in the Sunday afternoon of this 8th of October 2023. The Zombie Weaver of Roseman, California. This one's going out to Eric. I assume he knows Beau of the fifth column. It's regarding an article that was posted several hours ago from the Time Index here. And I am myself set up so I can get back into it again. He's got a little bit of a little burr up his ass concerning about what if Jordan wins the speakership. And the story was trying to get to is what happens if you happen to pick a fight with an old man. I'm like, you don't pick a fight with an old man unless the young guy's got to burr up his ass. He's got something to prove, and he thinks he can beat up an old man and feel great about it. Unfortunately, if you have any good sense, you don't pick on old people. You just don't. It's not that old people, maybe some old people can take care of themselves. It's the social stigma that you got. You picked on an old man. But how does that equate with the Trump and Jordan and the speakership? Originally, the maggots, not the MAGAs, the maggots, the Trumplicans, had strongly suggested, outright demanded that they get Trump as a speakership. And unfortunately, precedent and a few other rules and regulations, or even the House rules, are saying, no, you can't do that. So how about we endorse Jim Jordan because he seems to be a stand-up guy. He's an ass kisser. It's just as bad as Matt Gaetz. This got nothing to do with an old man or not. Jordan is an asshole. They need someone who can get two parties to at least talk to each other and try to get a few bills in. But you don't need an ass kisser, and you don't need an asshole. You need a guy who knows how to work the job, not an attack dog. So basically, I wouldn't trust anybody who's pure Trumplicant or an ass kisser. Jordan's one of them. So is Gaetz. I've heard their con jobs. I've heard them. Jordan gets in office. He's still going to be doing the weaponization of Congress against anybody and everybody and trying to find a way to get Trump off, and it's not going to help because the states Congress has no control over. If the lordship of the Trumplicans and of the ass kissers happen to get fragged in court and get sentenced, federal government can't do shit. And when it comes down for the Department of Justice, the Congress can make all the damn demands, but they cannot affect the operations of the Department of Justice. So I know they can try to defund it. The problem is they still need presidential approval, and they ain't going to get it in this term. So they can make all the mouth they can. If Jordan doesn't get into office, and we get another guy in there, okay, who? Marjorie Taylor Greene. She doesn't have the political experience, but she's going to be bridging the gap between them both. The Democrats are going to tear her ass apart. There's not going to be any majority, but it's purely Republican. But basically, they need to get a Republican in there. That's all there is to it. They got to get someone who's willing enough to reach across both aisles. But if they're going to get partisan here, then they're going to get one screwed up Congress. Now, already we've got security issues with Israel and Hamas going on. but it's also on home ground as well. We've already got protests happening in the major cities. They're afraid of a racial riot going on. What are they going to do about it? Right now, they can't do it because they're impotent. When you have a Democrat coming up and saying that they want to take over a dysfunctional Congress, either it's pretty brave, but it's also a slap in the face in the Republican Party at this point because they're the ones causing all the damn crap in the first place. McCarthy wanted the damn job originally. He had the job, and now he had dealt with the circus. And now the circus kicked us out because he didn't play by their rules. And some of them were changed. So now they got to get someone over there who knows how to play the game with the circus. And work with the Democrats at the same damn time. But the problem is, the circus doesn't want to deal with the Democrats. They want a one-party rule, and that ain't going to happen. Just because you got a majority in there, you still need to get more majority votes because the House rules. Unless they're going to be changing the House rules at this point over here, just by the Republican yays. If there's supposed to be a majority somewhere in there, then I guess they're going to be changing shit like that. But realize that in the next term, if they do not get the necessary votes to get another majority for another term, they're going to get their asses chewed off again. But they only care about right now, and they only care about their own current insanity and their own power right now. If we happen to get another schmuck in there, I mean, if Scalise is going to be lasting long enough without dying on him, I mean, he's already been through a hell of a lot of health scares right now as it is. Is he going to be physically able and mentally able and tough enough to deal with the political circus and everything else that they got to do with balancing act? McCarthy, I had to say it, and I don't want to say it. He had tried to do the balancing act. He tried to do it as best as he could. And what happens? He got himself kicked off the rope. Of course, he didn't have too much to fall. I mean, he only fell back into a representative seat. And he doesn't want to give up Congress. Now, either he still wants to serve his constituents, which are finally highly unlikely. He wants to serve Trump in one way or another. I find that unlikely because Trump's going to be looking at him as a loser. He's a loser. So what's McCarthy got to do? Probably stick around, try to collect a few lobbyist positions, maybe. Dreaming of getting back to his speakership again? Does he really want the damn job that bad? Thinks he can do a better job? He already agreed to so many things that no House Speaker would have, including allowing one guy to kick his ass out. One guy. Matt Gaetz did that. Gaetz wanted to chaos and confusion. He would say he was doing it for the good of the country. No, we needed a speakership for the good of the country. Even if it was McCarthy. But now we got chaos and confusion. We need we need the Congress to get off its dead ass and get some bills passed to take care of the situation regarding Israel, not to mention Ukraine. Any kind of defense spending bills we're going to be needing at this point. How about continuing funding for the damn strike group that's heading over to the Med right now? Or it's already in the Med and heading over towards the eastern end of the Mediterranean. Taking about a day or several more hours before they can get set up so they can get an operation going. Remember, in the three branches of government we have right now, the legislative, which is the House of Congress, and the state Senate, control the purse strings and make the laws. It is up to the executive branch to follow, to enforce, make recommendations, but also be the leaders concerning about our armed forces. But they still need to get authorization from the Congress. But a certain executive branch concerning executive actions, that's up to the executive branch. Judicial has to keep reviewing the laws we've got on books to see whether or not they're legal or not. There are a lot of things coming up, and they say yay, nay, or that's it. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. We've tried. So we need a functional government. We have an executive branch that's trying to function. We got a Senate that's still functional. We have a judicial branch that's questionable. But we have a circus in the House of Representatives, or it's supposed to be the House of Representatives, supposed to be hotheads, and they're trying to figure shit out left and right, and they can't figure out their own ass. Or basically, they can't figure out how to keep their shoes tied. No, they're mouthing off and doing nothing. We got the Democrats wanting to get stuff done, but they stayed away from the voting when it came down for ousting McCarthy because they were sore. I gotta tell these guys, sometimes you just gotta throw away. You gotta put your pride in neutral and see what's good for the country. If McCarthy was still in office at this point, we wouldn't be in this congressional screw up right now. Trump would not be suggested to be a speaker. And yes, the Republicans would hate McCarthy for the rest of their existence because McCarthy wanted a stable government. But they can't get a stable government if the Republicans can't get up their dead asses. But because you got the hotheads, I mean the very, very hotheads, Jordan, Gates, and everybody else who follows the maggots, or are maggots and Republicans. They're the ones running things. They're influencing everybody else. The bullies. You know, I know there are laws and there are rules for having conversations off the floor in a form and fashion that would be unethical, unprincipled, and basically taken behind the alley kind of thinking there. Unfortunately, this isn't a schoolyard, and this isn't a rough neighborhood. This is supposed to be a bunch of adults trying to act like adults, but right now we got a schoolyard bullying tactics, and we got toddler brains running the Congress. Even the Democrats, I'm calling them. And I'm a Democrat. I'm a libtard. What do you expect? I'm sorry, I'm a libturd. So if we have Trump endorsing Jordan, let him. If Jordan doesn't get the nominations, nothing's going to happen. He said maybe the Republicans will look at it as a stain, or maybe the Trumplicans will like, oh my God, even a Trump thing here doesn't work here. Now what do we do? Wake the hell up, be human beings, and get on with life. Stop your belly aching and stop your whining. Jeez, what a binder babies. So that's what they're doing right now, being whining babies. They can't help it. They're brain dead. Let me put that in the most undelicate and insensitive nature. You guys realize that when the 2024 come up, you guys are going to be losing seats, regardless. You're going to be keeping your seats. Keep the people happy. You don't keep them happy, they're going to keep you. They're going to kick your ass out. It's that simple. And unfortunately, we do have some people out there who wanted into chaos and confusion in the Congress because that's what they want. And because we are a democratic society, we are a representative democracy, and a lot of people have a problem with that. They don't understand democracy. They don't know. It's not democracy itself. It's how our own version of democracy works. We're not a one person, one vote for everything regarding city, state, and national. Each state has their own thing and their own way of voting. Nationally, we vote the electors. who gather, and with the numbers that they got, we get our president. But we also do the popular vote as well to let them know that we still want that particular selection. So in an electoral college, you'll have a different number than the population. This is in the Constitution, set up a hell of a long time ago, with a population way less than what we've got right now. And they made provisions for it to be changed, modified, and that's why we have the amendment things going on in there. Enough said on that one. So when you need to talk about just don't put it in a 4 or 5 minute clip and expect people to just explain it to them. Shuck.